In the high, mist-choked peaks of the Iron Spine Mountains lived Ignis, a dragon whose scales were the color of a fading sunset. Unlike the terrors of legend, Ignis didn't crave gold or charred meat. He spent his days sculpting clouds with his wings and listening to the rhythmic pulse of the earth. His life changed the day he saw Ilara. The encounter. Ilara was a herbalist from the valley below, a woman with silver hair and hands that smelled of rosemary. She had climbed higher than any villager dared, searching for the rare moonbell flower that grew only in the thin air of the peaks. When she slipped on a slick patch of shale, she didn't fall to her death. Instead, she landed on something warm, leathery, and vast. The reaction. Ignis didn't roar. He hummed, a low, vibrating frequency that calmed the racing of her heart. The bond. For 7 summers they met in secret. He brought her stones polished by glacial ice. She read him poetry and brushed the soot from between his scales. The choice. Dragons are creatures of magic, and their lifespans are tied to the ancient ley lines of the world. However, a dragon who bonds with a mortal begins to undergo a softening. To love a human is to invite the fragility of time into one's eternal blood. By the 8th winter, a localized plague struck Ilara's village. She grew pale, her breath rattling like dry leaves. Ignis watched from the cliffs, his golden eyes brimming with a grief he didn't fully understand. "There is a way," the wind seemed to whisper to him. "A dragon's heart is a sun. To give its warmth is to save a life, but to extinguish the fire within." The sacrifice. On a night when the frost bit deep into the stone, Ignis descended. He didn't land in the village square to cause fear. He draped himself over Ilara's small cottage, his massive body acting as a living hearth. He closed his eyes and began the heart transfer. His scales began to lose their sunset hue, turning a dull, stony gray. He channeled every ounce of his inner furnace, his very essence, through the roof and into the woman shivering below. As the sun rose, the plague was burned out of Ilara's lungs, replaced by a strange, enduring warmth. The ending. When Ilara stepped outside the next morning, she didn't find a dragon. She found a magnificent winding ridge of gray stone surrounding her home. It looked like a sleeping giant, protective and still. Ignis was gone, his spirit now the literal warmth in her chest and the stone that shielded her from the north wind. He hadn't just died, he had become the very ground she walked upon.